All right, so I received two questions about working with high school kids, and I want to answer both of them. The first one was, what's the biggest challenge when working with high school kids? And the second is, what's the biggest mistake you see in high school kids regarding their training? So before I get into this, I'll be honest, I don't really like talking about the basics much on here. Most of my audience already gets it, so my answer really isn't going to provide much value to a lot of you guys. You guys understand the important things like consistent training and nutrition, those kinds of things, but I want to answer these questions specifically because there's a lot of coaches here or future coaches who are just kind of getting started, and my answer here might help prepare them for what they're actually going to experience in the real world. Let's start with the first question. So the biggest challenge when working with high school kids is knowing how much and when to take the training wheels off. Like how much and when to pull back and allow more or less autonomy with the kids, especially around things like load selection, but just like other decision making in the weight room as well. A lot of these kids just have no real sense of what they're capable of. They don't know what a proper warm-up set should feel like or warm-up sets should feel like. They'll underload every warm-up set and then eventually underload their working sets because of it. Or they'll just make massive jumps in weights and then get stapled by a bar they should have never touched in the first place. So it's my job and your job as their coach to teach them how to train, not just tell them what to do. They need to learn how to do warm-up sets, how to build into working sets, how a set of 10 feels differently from a triple, how warm-up sets for heavy sets of 5 should be approached differently than warm-up sets for working sets of 10, things like that. And that kind of stuff just takes time and it takes coaching. The most simple way I can put it is that they need to learn how to train, and a lot of them just don't know how to do that. And I'm talking about like evaluating working sets, making appropriate load selections, looking at what exercise follows the exercise they're currently performing and what needs to be done to prepare for that next one. Because you can't just always tell them like what weight to use for every set and every exercise. They need to learn how to do that themselves and like maintain efficiency within the session. When you're working in small groups, like for me, I work with groups of 3 in my garage and they're all sharing the same barbell, but they're all at different strength levels. You have to learn how to manage that. You need to provide the right amount of help to each kid without killing the flow or just holding the hand of one of them. That's where coaching kind of turns into the art form. And so now for the second question, what's the biggest mistake you see in high school kids with their training? The honest answer is like not the training itself, at least not with the kids that I work with, because they're following a structured program that I write, just like if they go somewhere else. So the training program is probably fine. The biggest issue is nutrition by a long shot. And some of that's on the kids. They're young, distracted, immature, but a lot of it comes down to what they're being taught at home, or accurately put, what they're not being taught. So I've worked with kids who can't name like 5 quality carbohydrate sources. Kids who think a sirloin steak with a baked potato and cottage cheese is nutritionally equal to a burger that's 80% lean with a slice of cheddar cheese and fries because both meals have a meat, carbs, and dairy. That's not just like a lack of knowledge, it's a lack of awareness. And even more than that, a lot of these kids have like no cooking skills at all. Like they don't even know how to scramble eggs. So if their parents are out of the house before breakfast or if they're out of the house during lunch, they're defaulting to things like microwaving mac and cheese or toasting up a frozen egg of waffles or even a Pop-Tart. And those are like actual examples from real conversations with my clients. Now, I'm not here to bash parents. I'm a parent myself. I know it's not easy. But if parents don't teach their kids how to eat or how to cook, then that responsibility falls on the coach, and a coach should absolutely have the skills to do so. But we can only do so much. We can educate, we can guide, but we can't monitor every meal. That has to happen at home. Because the problem probably isn't the training. Most decent training programs follow similar principles and lead to similar adaptations. But the kids who are constantly unable to progress with their training throughout an entire training block or see no improvements in body composition or even just like see the scale go up, those are the ones who are probably malnourished. And I think there has to be some responsibility of that falls on the parents. So to summarize what the biggest challenge is, knowing when and how much to step in and step back. And then the biggest mistake is poor nutrition or just like total lack of food knowledge. Again, I don't like to talk about this stuff a ton because you guys, my audience, you already get it, you understand it. But to newer coaches, this is the stuff that's actually going to come up in your real job. So I figured I'd share that answer. So that's all I got. I appreciate you watching this video and listening to my rant. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.